Okay, so we had the strongest leadership test. So it's the coronavirus impact on CEOs' leadership.
I'm Charlie.
I'm Mikayla.
Okay, so the toughest leadership test, an article that we read by McKinsey and Company. Basically, just business leaders from around the globe have changed their daily routines to help them and their companies fight through the pandemic with intentions of returning stronger than ever before. As a lot of people have this mindset right now with the pandemic going on, they know it'll eventually be over, but just trying to rebound stronger than they went into it. Okay, so self-care has been very important for CEOs and leaders in the business world since the pandemic has started. A quote from the article saying, from one CEO says, "Don't ignore your body. You are invincible until you are not." So just taking care of yourself, making sure you're ready to go every single day, so you're able to support your company. And then in regards to safety videos on airplanes, put the oxygen mask on yourself before you put it on the person next to you. I found this a little eye-opening too, because CEOs have like the reputation of taking care of uh, a lot of individuals, but if they don't take care of themselves first, they're not going to be able to take care of everyone else. Just
That's
like
an interesting point.
yeah, so I liked
I never thought about that.
Yeah, I like how they like compared it to the safety videos on airplanes with oxygen and stuff. That was pretty cool. So then they also have to find time for simple daily routines that can preserve their mental and physical stamina as they're working from home now. So they're definitely in a different environment. And I mean, I've even noticed this with myself, just trying to get in a routine. Routines definitely have been helpful for me at least. And then some ways that they can preserve their mental and physical stamina by having a consistent sleep schedule, implementing some exercise, and banning electronics before bed are proven methods to restore energy for CEOs. And one section article is talking about how one CEO just said that using technology and screens before he goes to bed. He's just reading a book 30 minutes as a way to unwind, which I feel like was the normal, and now it's definitely turning towards electronics. So I feel like that's just reading books before bed is a good way to unwind and preserve your mental health.
Have you been using technology, electronic, social media, or anything of that before going to bed? Question open for everybody too.
Yeah.
I have. I always do.
Do you feel it impacts your sleep?
For sure. If I'm on my phone, I won't go to bed until like 3 a.m. Like unless I just like, put it down.
Okay.
It usually doesn't impact I like look at it for maybe 20 minutes before bed. Maybe look at the news, and I don't know. For me, it doesn't really affect me. Maybe it does, and I don't know it, but I usually don't have a preference, I guess.
So maybe I shouldn't even watch the 11 o'clock news.
Well,
Yeah, maybe.
at least that's something important. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like what I'm doing on my phone is I could easily cut it out. I feel like the news is kind of important. Like, keep up with all the current things going on, politics. I don't know.
But do you think that would disturb my sleep if I do that?
No, because it ends. There's like
Right,
an end.
but maybe my brain starts thinking and I get upset about it.
Oh, yeah.
Never thought about it.
Personal topics.
Maybe you'll dream about it instead. Maybe it'll aid in your dreams.
Okay. Maybe I'll try that. I'll turn everything off and I won't do anything an hour or two before I go to bed other than read.
I think it would actually help. For me at least.
Yeah.
Or watch some better TV, like Tiger King.
At least you'd be like, yeah, that'd be entertaining. But like, if you're reading, you're getting probably the best knowledge that you could be getting than off of technology. There's just so many different
Okay.
things to be reading.
Are you doing the slide?
All right, so adaption. These two trends will tell us what's to come and what to expect. So there's going to be definitely two different parts of this, of positive and negative, and the evolution of healthcare, new and better habits, and the reduction of inequality are for positive points, and then negative, containing harsher surveillance, divide between countries, and an economic recession that's probably bound to happen at some point again. So how have leaders adjusted so far? They've definitely taken a positive outlook on everything and want to focus on everything that's good instead of the bad, which I feel like the media has definitely focused on more of the bad than the good of late. But so for CEOs, looking beyond daily configurations while thinking and planning for the longer term, again, just rescheduling their daily plans and how they can change their connections with employees and individuals that they're talking to every day. So some CEOs are starting every single meeting with a note of appreciation for his team's achievements. So I like this one a lot, just starting off meeting with a positive note, and also giving some compliments out and appreciating people's work. Increased communications. CEOs have said that their communication with individuals within their company has been greater than ever, and because they can't, not necessarily, they have to check in with them more often over the phone and technology. And then many CEOs are talking more often about their own and their personal purpose and the values they stand for, which is in tough times just relating back to what they've always based their habits and personalities on, and trying to implement that into their company and firm, see how that works out.
Yeah, that's important. The purposes and values. I think you're going to find if you did your reflection yet, where that fits in.
Yeah, definitely. I was reading about that earlier too.
Okay, so then we found a quote from Mark Cuban, and it said, "How you treat your employees today will have more impact on your brand in future years than any amount of advertising, any amount of anything you could do," he continued. Because again, we're all suffering from this. Every single person is looking to see how their company is treating them, how their employees are treating family members and friends. So this basically just goes back to that all eyes are on the CEOs, and everything that your company do has a great effect during this, a time of a crisis. So some ways that they are trying to create symbolic acts to share the pain with their employees and consumers. Some CEOs have been donating their bonuses to charities linked to COVID-19. Some have given up their pay, which sends an important message that they're all sharing the pain. And some have decided to be on the front line of just this whole crisis. And it said in the article that some CEOs have been mystery shoppers to get an idea of how their company performs at a time like this so that they can improve it. And then lastly, physical presence is important. CEOs can personally ask consumers about their concerns to improve the way they operate. And then CEOs have more recently found the importance of teamwork and have been relying on their teams during this time. As a result, they meet with their teams more often than ever, just like Charlie said. It's gone from being maybe once a month meetings to now 3 times a week meeting.
Do you think you get over meeting? Have too many meetings?
You probably definitely could. Because if a meeting just turns to small talk every single time you meet, instead of just getting directly down to what the real decisions of business should focus on, then it could definitely be too much.
Yeah, I feel like meeting agendas too are becoming more important than before too, just so that doesn't happen.
Okay. And the speed of decisions. Decisions have been made faster.
Yes. So CEOs, I think the reason that decisions have been made more efficiently during a time like this is because they are meeting more frequently, but also that they have cut down the size of their groups to smaller, decentralized, with a clear direction, instead of just going into meeting not really knowing what they're going to talk about. They've figured out a way to pinpoint it to one thing at a time instead of maybe a broader meeting.
Okay.
And in a time of crisis as well, CEOs can tend to like load up on like board meetings, like all these different like appointments and stuff. And at the time they may think it's like a good idea, but it could actually prove that they're like vulnerable because it seems like they're in control at a time like this when they really aren't. So like it's really important for CEOs to take a step back and just focus on one thing at a time rather than loading up their schedules.
How do you think some of the CEOs might have felt?
Lost, not really sure what to do, I think, at a time like this. Like, I don't know. I feel like if I was a CEO, it'd be like kind of like, wow, like I do need to take a step back and like realize what we need to do before like actually attacking it.
Okay.
Yeah, take just like a bigger picture on the outlook too. Just taking a step back and putting yourself in different perspectives of other people.
Mm-hmm. It's got to be hard to be a CEO today because you've always been used to making decisions. You've been successful. You had a dream of where you think the company should go, and now you're almost.
Yeah, and you just probably never been through anything like this before either too. So
Yeah.
The good thing is like you'll have a better idea of like what to do in the future, I guess, for CEOs during times like these.
Okay.
So how have interactions with stakeholders have changed? Again, interactions have become more frequent, and it's important for CEOs to realize that all of their employees are relying on them to make these big decisions, not just like for the company, but for their livelihood. And it's important for businesses to redefine their objectives because they're no longer just like doing their daily things. Like they need to like realize that the world is like changing. And a good leader grounds the organizations for success by balancing things that can be endured with the recognition that other things can be transformed for the better. So that's basically just saying like you can't really focus on like the worst things, like that you need to keep transforming and becoming like a better company. And what should CEOs focus on now? Specific and tangible goals. It's important for companies to be thinking about what's next and what the new normal will be in which companies will shape. I think like consumers and employees like need to look to the companies for direction more than anything else. Like the CEOs are shaping how business is going to be after this.
But yet they still don't know the answer.
Exactly.
They have to shape it without knowing.
Yeah, definitely. But I think as long as they're making their employees like feel confident and safe in the environment, like they will remain competitive and in order to stay afloat.
Also just supporting like the stakeholders of the business and making sure you're just satisfying or being sufficient of their duties, I guess you could say, or just taking a step back and understanding what stakeholders want for the business too, and that you're in charge of mandating that. So it's giving them different perspective as well.
Yeah, I think it's definitely important for companies to not really focus on the bad things that are happening, and that like the future of what their company will be is what's most important, even if they don't know what it's going to be. And it's not even just like questioning it, it's like just like finding the answers before even knowing it, which is difficult, but
yeah.
So basically the COVID-19, sorry, you can go.
No, it's all good. It's just like saying again, just like positive outlook on everything, just trying to stay positive during these times for sure.
How can this is a question for everybody. How can we stay positive when we keep hearing all of this unpleasant news? How do we stay positive? What do you do to stay positive? Or what could you do?
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
I do things that that I do all the time, like just like sports and stuff, and it kind of takes my mind off all the stuff that's going on right now, and try to be slowly go back to normal. I think that's kind of how I stay positive, and just spending time with family, I guess. I don't know.
For me, it's just like whatever circumstance I'm in, just even if it's a negative one, just somehow trying to find one positive out of it and being able to just like identify positive outcomes that can possibly come from like one of the worst situations, and just like implementing that more throughout my daily life has helped me a little bit. If you guys can make sense of that.
Yeah, I agree with both of those. I mean, I definitely try to work out more. That helps clear my mind. And yeah, also just trying to find positives in it. I mean, there are positives. Maybe they're just hard to see, but they're there. So
Yeah, I think like in the beginning of this, I like didn't have a routine, and that was like something that I like need as a person. So like definitely finding a routine within like the new normal was something that was like hard for me to do at first, but it definitely like keeps me positive in that way.
Yeah, I've tried to stay as positive as I can, and being outside, working, balancing. Told the other group I'm up to 12,000 steps a day now, which I'm pretty excited about. But again, some of the words that I've heard from you guys, the words of today: resilience, innovation, adaptation, agility. All of those, just thinking about these and saying, how can I benefit from this? How can I use this to my advantage? Agility. Megan, you know where I'm going.
yeah, I got you.
Charlie, what does agility mean to you? To be agile.
Nimble on your feet.
Nimble on your feet. Okay. Mikayla.
Agility,
Yeah, what does agility mean?
I guess just like being able to like do new things that like come. I don't know. I have to think about. I don't know. I'm not sure. Agility.
Yeah.
I guess I would agree with Charlie.
Being nimble on your feet. What was a movie that you could learn that from?
Wolf of Wall Street.
Okay, that's one.
Oh,
Sure.
yeah.
Sure, that'll work. What else?
Movies. I need to watch more movies now. That's a.
Did you ever watch Dodgeball?
Oh yeah.
I haven't watched that one.
You didn't watch that? Well, go watch it.
I will after this.
Okay, because the theme is if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge anything. And there's a scene where the coach is throwing wrenches at the players, and they have to avoid getting hit. And that's being nimble on your feet. So go watch the movie.
Step up.
You know, this is going to be an easy day. I'm going to go to Three Heads. Then after I'm done with that, I'm going to watch movies. Everything's going to be great. What'd you learn from pardon, Charlie?
You're living the dream.
Yeah. What could be better? What'd you learn from doing this?
That like the pressure of like being at such a high position like is like so immense, and that like the need for change, like in a time like this, like you need to be able to accept change. Like someone who's in traditional in their ways like may not make it through this.
Yeah.
As well as other people that are willing to accept change.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Mikayla on the change aspect. Also, just like you can't really teach this. The situation is just came upon all of us and such, like just out of nowhere almost, and then for CEOs to have such a big impact on just like making every single decision they have, it just has a huge impact on people. So, learning just how much the CEOs' daily lives entail, and then just also how the article definitely focused on just like a positive outlook, like this is going to be over eventually, and how business and CEOs respond from it, and how things are going to be different even after the virus is over.
Yeah, good point. It's things that we can do too.
Yeah, there's definitely something. I saw on 60 Minutes last night, UNC is requiring all students to wear masks in the fall.
How do you think that's going to work?
I think Stony Brook's
I don't
going.
know.
Mikayla, go ahead. I didn't hear you.
I think my cousin goes to Stony Brook, and they said that they're going back, and they're gonna have to wear masks on campus and gloves, I think.
How is that going to, how do you think that would work in Geneseo?
I don't know. How are you gonna enforce that? Is my question. Like,
Yeah, it's hard to enforce. Well, it's hard because, people gotta. Is the school gonna supply the PPE, or is it gonna be you have to buy them? That's an expense. I don't know. Wearing them all the time, it's a lot of money. No.
or if you if you're the person not wearing a mask, if people are just gonna be like, what do you do? Like people's reactions to people not wearing masks could be interesting.
Like on Long Island for sure, I feel like, I don't know if it's different like in different parts of New York, but like if you don't wear a mask like in stores, it's kind of like, what are you doing? Or like you're not even allowed in the store. I don't know if it's the same upstate, but
Yeah, no, it definitely is, for sure.
Yeah, I was in Home Depot yesterday, and there was only one person I didn't see with a mask, and I didn't know whether to say something. I was ready to, like, wow, I won't.
I was in a store the other day and someone was wearing a mask and they took off their mask, like coughed and sneezed with their mask off and then put it back on. I was like, I don't think that's how it's supposed to go, but.
Not at all. I mean, I feel like people just you have the obligation to wear a mask, just not for yourself, but just make others feel safe too. Not so much for yourself, but just respecting others' territories when you're in public, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, making appointments to shop now at certain places too. Like I went to Fleet Feet Sports to get new running shoes, and I had to schedule an appointment, and there were only one other group of people in there when I was in there. So.
Did that make you feel safe?
I mean, I thought it was almost a little too. I mean, yeah, it made me feel safe, but I didn't know if people weren't coming out anyways, even if there weren't appointment. If I didn't have to make an appointment, would people still be? Would there be more people in the stores? Like what I was wondering.
Mm-hmm. So finding that balance.
Yeah, and they were definitely cleaning excessive amounts, just the benches and handles and everything that needs to be cleaned, which is good. But
how do you think that could work on campus, the cleaning side of things?
I think that'll be really hard.
I think people.
I think it'll be hard. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Mikayla.
Or you could talk.
All right, I'll go ahead. I mean, I've seen people with the big, rubber, Rubbermaid bins almost on their back with a sprayer, and you spray anti infection or whatever, the spray. I don't know what they're spraying.
Awesome.
But, I guess that could be a thing that's new. Mikayla, go ahead. What you were gonna say?
I was just gonna say that I feel like classes are most of the time only 15 minutes between especially in lecture halls, and I feel in 15 minutes spraying down an entire lecture hall is not really feasible.
Mm-hmm. So what do we do? Is this simply going to go away and we go back to normal?
I don't think so. I think it's just going to be a slow learning process that I don't know what's going to happen.
None of us do.
We're gonna have to distance in lecture halls, or I don't know, change the class sizes.
What's the obstacle to that?
More paying more professors more money.
Yeah, we're in the middle of a budget crisis, so we don't have any money. Yeah, the gap has gotten. There's so much going on, but we had this. The SUNY Geneseo has a $5.5 million structural deficit, meaning that our expenses exceed revenue by $5.5 million.
The library.
Yeah, no, library.
That's a different, that excludes any cost associated with that because it comes out of a different bucket, but that's a lot of money.
It is a lot.
Yeah, this is probably
Anything else? Good discussion.